So for those of you who don't know, maybe some of you know, I got the Sennheiser HD 550. I already shared my first impression and unboxing in a previous video. And this video I'm going to share with you an opinion about one aspect of one of the things that I mentioned that are important for me, which is the bass. Now, I'm using this headset mainly for gaming, but also music is important. Aside from I enjoy listening to music outside of gaming, there's also great music in gaming that you can enjoy. Of course, Expedition 33, Clear Obscure Expedition 33 original soundtrack is amazing. So I want to enjoy it, of course, when I hear it in game, in high quality. That, of course, along other things. But the bass is important because I'm playing games that I really want to feel the bass when it's actually relevant. For example, when I play games like Battlefield, I'm not playing 2042, but Battlefield 1, Battlefield 3. But of course, there are many other games. For example, Go Blue Fight, the music in Go Blue Fight in Clear Obscure Expedition 33. Let me just show you the moment, the music. So this track is actually I really love, and again, it's in-game, one of the boss fights, but it's also very active below 100 Hz. But in general, the area around between 20 Hz and 60 Hz, the sub bass and the bass between 60 Hz and 250 Hz is pretty active in this track. Now you don't see this in this video, but basically, I mean, just a snippet, but what I did, I was toying around with the equalizer with different frequencies to see how basically the sub bass and bass sound when I increase them, whether I get really high quality result, whether it's kind of a mix with the mids. Do I like how it sounds? Now, of course, I did more than that. I listened to many music tracks. I tried different games. Also tried to listen to various gameplay that I haven't got a chance to get to a certain action, like for example, tanks in Battlefield 2042. So I watched a few gameplay videos and I tested out to see really how good it is. I didn't want it to sound muddy. I didn't want it to mix with other things. I want good separation. I want to also sound natural and even not disturbing to my ear. And I also wanted to check how the very low frequencies, something between the 30 Hz and below. Now, based on the official specs for the HD 550, we can see that the frequency response range is between 6 Hz and 39.5 kHz. Now, I did try in various places, like with the ultimate headphone test, to check if I can actually hear the very low frequency. And in that particular one, I actually was able to hear to 10 Hz, but that 10 Hz was actually the minimum. They didn't go further. So what I know for sure that it is possible, of course, to hear it, which of course we need to believe these are official specs, but I wanted to test it. So yeah, I could hear it. It felt more like pressure than sound, kind of a deep guttural thrum that rattles the headphones, like kind of tectonic rumble. Not like overwhelmingly deep like you get from an external sub bass, but definitely it was there. And that was listened carefully. Without a DAC, which I'm going to test DAC soon once I get a DAC, connected just directly to my laptop computer, Lenovo Legion gaming computer, and also without EQ, just by default. Straight from the headset. So by itself, it was very impressive. How I can describe the result? Well, I have two headsets that I actually compared against, the KSC75, which of course totally lacking sub bass, in the SHC 9600 is supposed to be a very bassy headphones, but that one actually I couldn't even hear the lower frequency at all when I tested it against that video. I just couldn't hear it. This means that the resolution, the ability to actually reproduce these frequencies is actually where some of these, a certain range, was non-existent on the Philips. Now, for the SHC 9600, the frequency is from 6 Hz to 35 kHz. But even then, I just listened to it with that specific video and I just couldn't hear those frequencies, which I actually heard with the Sennheiser HD 550. Now, the 9600 is so bassy that it just kind of colored everything. That's why the sound feels kind of muddy. And I couldn't get it right even trying to using EQ. It just didn't work well because I think it just doesn't respond well to EQ changes. So how was the HD 550? Well, these headphones deliver pristine bass that's perfectly integrated, never overpowering. The sub bass is pure and smooth. And what I've noticed that there is remarkable separation across all frequencies. This allows every element to coexist in perfect harmony. I notice it in music and in games as well. And I can tell you straight out of the bat, the level of clarity has profoundly deepened my connection with the music. Not just music, by the way. I remember just watching something on YouTube and then opening a new game on Game Pass, which is, by the way, I will tell you the game. It's called Lost in Random: The Eternal Die. And then I heard the music at the start of the game. I was like, wow, everything basically that I hear, the clarity just blew my mind away. But this also, of course, because I'm doing a big jump from my previous headphones. And it feels like every song, it's not feels like, it is. Every song just hit differently. And of course, it also leads to a kind of more deeper emotional response. It's like how advanced, I can compare to, for example, like lighting. How advanced lighting in games reveal the true texture of materials. These headphones expose the very ambience of the recording, even of the recording space, and unique character or characteristics of the microphone that actually was used. Now, I can tell you the separation was one of the most important things for me, because if the bass or sub bass kind of blend with the mids or blend with each other, and there's kind of mishmash of results, I wouldn't enjoy it. It will actually ruin the entire mix, let's say it like that. I just wouldn't enjoy listening to anything with it. So it needs to blend harmonically with everything else. And here, that's what happens. The bass and sub bass blend seamlessly with the music and vocals. And in terms of gaming, is sound effects, and in Battlefield it's much more prominent because there's so many things happening: bullets flying, leaves, wind, the communication sound, explosion, tanks, vehicles flying, you know, and I just felt that it was just a bliss listening to it. So what it was doing was actually adding richness without ever stealing the spotlight, unless you want to do it and amplify it significantly. But again, more tests about that I will make later on, and comparison once I get my amplifier. But I can tell you that once I increase those frequencies using an equalizer, I really felt again all the sub bass and the thumbs. They are weighty and incredibly deep. I haven't heard any distortions whatsoever, and I actually listening it quite loud. This is without actually an amplifier. Now, things of course might improve once I get the amplifier, but that's for a later video. So in Battlefield, for example, you feel that, for example, when a tank, and I listen to lots of tanks explosion and stuff, it has lots of volume and depth. You really feel that it takes like volume in the space. It's just so satisfying. And it has its own existence. It doesn't blend or ruin anything or overwhelming other sounds that it just sounded some other sounds are actually lost because of that. And of course, I'm talking here things regarding the mids. What I can tell you again, without actually using an amp, is that in Battlefield, for example, I felt that I want to increase the bass and the sub bass area more significantly because it just felt better. You really felt like you are in a war. And you know, usually again, although these have bass extension, it's more analytic, but with bass extension. So it's not like something, let's say, compared to the SHC 9600 that really feels completely bassy to an extent that is actually bad, or at least out of the box. But even with EQ, it was pretty problematic. But here I really felt that once I increase it, I really enjoy it more, at least in Battlefield. So there will be games, of course, where some people, including myself, will enjoy certain games kind of boosted with an equalizer. But the good news is that the headphones react well to EQ changes based on my initial testings. It didn't feel muddy, nor distorted, nor mixed with the other frequency to lead to very unpleasant results. It was very, very satisfying. Yeah, so bottom line is very good news. I'm really, really pleased with the results so far. I'm going to share more on my channel. If you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe. More coming. Cheers.